at the Personal Service Center. He can notarize that for you, make copies, fax it wherever, or send it out in the mail. Heck, he can even scan it and email it for you.
Really? Where is he at?
2375 Northeast 25th Avenue, on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street. You can call him at 789-6683.
Personal Service Center. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Robin. 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday, the second to the last day of 2013. We are just 2 days away from 2014. Not even 2 days, right?
No.
Let's see if we could probably add up the hours. 24 tomorrow, and about 13 today. So what's that? 35? 35 hours.
37. 24 and 13.
Oh, 24 and 13. Okay.
37.
How did I make that mistake? 24, 34. Oh, that's right, because it's 12 hours. Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey,
yes.
Robin.
Hey, Larry. We're having such a great day today.
I found a couple of different interesting articles that I wanted to share with you. And before we go to the one that I mostly wanted to focus on, which is the mysterious Toynbee Tiles. Yeah. The Toynbee Tiles. I have two other things. First of all, this one everybody seems to know about, right? That this whole re-interest in Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Because of the movie Saving Mr. Banks.
Mm-hmm. My mom saw that movie the other day. She
saw Mr. Banks?
Yep.
And Dan was saying that he and Missy watched Mary Poppins again. And in 2014, in August of 2014, Mary Poppins will be celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Wow.
And they, meaning Disney, are releasing some kind of a special DVD or something this year in 2014.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if they're waiting until August to do it, but August will be the 50th anniversary of that movie coming out.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Did you see it when you were a kid?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I liked it.
And I did too.
My mom took me to
but I don't know that I've seen it since then. So I literally haven't seen the movie in 50 years.
Oh, wow.
Or 49 years.
I've seen it since then with my children growing up, because you could rent it on video.
I don't think I ever did that. I don't think with Alex I ever rented Chim Chim Cheree. And
oh.
I remember the guy who laughed and he floated to the ceiling. Do you remember?
Yeah, Ed.
Gwynn?
Ed Gwynn, that's his name, yeah.
Now, how did I ever remember that name? I don't remember actors' names.
He must have made an impression on you.
So all this talk about Mary Poppins and the talk about
Ed Gwynn, that's it.
Ed Gwynn, okay.
Yeah.
Was there an Ed Gwynn also?
No, there was a Fred Gwynn who was Herman Munster.
Okay.
And in Car 54, where are you? He played the policeman.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But Ed Gwynn, that's the guy that floated and laughed.
So anyway, all this focus on
that song's in my head now.
Which one?
We love to laugh.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're paying attention to this story because of all the publicity around the Tom Hanks movie. Tom Hanks plays Walt Disney, and everybody knew that Walt Disney had an apartment at Disneyland on Main Street. One of those facades was actually not a facade. It was a real apartment upstairs, right?
Oh, yes. That's cool.
What I don't know, and I was just looking it up, so maybe somebody knows, was there ever an apartment in Disney World? I bet you there was.
I bet he had one.
And maybe it wasn't in the same location. Maybe it was like in the castle or something like that.
Yeah, could have been before he died.
But did you know this? And I'm kind of setting you up because I kind of told you before. But the guy who designed and built the Eiffel Tower, his name was Eiffel. Gustav Eiffel.
Son went up there to the top, yeah.
And in 1889, the Eiffel Tower was opened. You remember this was not exactly something that Parisians wanted in their city. They thought it was an eyesore.
Yeah.
They didn't like it, and of course now it's a landmark. Not only is it a landmark, but it's duplicated in Las Vegas. And where else is there another Eiffel Tower?
Christmas tree ornaments.
But anyway, so he built an apartment for himself at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
I never knew that till you told me.
Not many people know this. No. Gustav Eiffel, the engineer who designed the tower, had an apartment. It was fully decorated, and it was frequently used for social gatherings with people, including Thomas Edison.
That's pretty awesome. That is cool.
So let me tell you a little bit about it, and then I will tell you the more interesting one about the Toynbee Tiles.
Oh, okay.
Which they're not really connected, but I found them both interesting, so I'm sharing them both with you. It's the Monday before the end of the year. We're kind
it is.
We're kind of filling in some spaces here, but this is good because this is good stuff here.
It is good stuff.
Anyway, listen to this.
Stuff.
Gustav Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower designer, he completed it in 1899. It's 1,063 feet tall. In its day, it was the world's tallest structure, and the first structure that outdid it was the Chrysler Building in New York City.
Wow.
Which is the building many non-New Yorkers mistake for the Empire State Building. But you know the difference, right? 1930.
Right.
You know which is which, right? When you look at the skyline?
No.
No, really?
No, because they look so similar. I mean, I can't tell you.
This Chrysler Building has almost like scales leading up to the spike.
Oh, okay.
It's easy to see.
Okay.
and the Empire State Building is usually smack dab in the center of Manhattan, whereas the Eiffel Tower, the Chrysler Building is a little north. Anyway.
Okay.
It was originally built, the Eiffel Tower now, originally built to serve as an elaborate entranceway into the 1899 Paris World's Fair, with the intent of taking it down.
Wow.
Anyway, it never did get taken down because some people wanted it to stay, so obviously it stayed. The tower at its highest level has an apartment. It was a private apartment built specifically for Gustav Eiffel, the engineer who designed the tower.
Oh, he should have one.
Unlike the complex iron-weaved tower in which it lies, it was furnished, containing all the trappings of a modest 19th century Parisian home. It had carpets, wallpaper, cabinets, a small bedroom. The apartment was the envy of many. Indeed, Eiffel reportedly received several substantial offers from the Tootie Twos.
But he had running water, too.
For a single... I wonder if he had water. I bet the toilet worked really well.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had many offers for a single night in the apartment. Needless to say, his attachment to this highly coveted private space was so strong that he didn't want anybody else to be there.
Oh, good for him.
So he told them all no.
Yeah, good for him.
Alongside the furnishings, the apartment also contained a grand piano.
Wow.
There was a grand piano in that apartment.
How did that get up there?
Well, now that's interesting because I think they used a blimp. I was looking at this earlier, and I think they used, not only for the piano, but for much of the furnishings, I think they used a Zeppelin, a blimp.
Yeah, because I can't imagine it going up in an elevator, a grand piano. I mean, that kind of elevator.
He held parties in his apartment, and he would invite dignitaries or other people he wanted to show his apartment to.
He had them trapped up there, too.
Yeah. One of his visitors was Thomas Edison. September 10th, 1899, Thomas Edison visited Gustav Eiffel in the Eiffel Tower apartment.
Wow.
They spent the time smoking cigars, drinking cognac, and discussing Edison's latest invention was the phonograph.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of has some history there.
That is pretty neat. Pretty
And
neat.
I guess that's all I have on that. But anyway, so, gosh, there was one more thing I wanted to tell you, but I don't have it printed up.
Oh.
Do you
remember?
Well, I think, yes, I do. It was transformed, I believe, in later years to a museum piece. And I think, your son would know because he went there. But I think now when you go up there, you can see the apartment. I don't think anybody actually lives there anymore, but they have it set up like a museum piece so that you can see like a mannequin of him and a mannequin of Thomas Edison.
That is cool.
Probably smoking cigars and drinking cognac.
It's the American way.
All right. Now, the more fun part of this little segment that we're doing right here is the Toynbee Tiles mystery. Have you ever heard of the Toynbee Tiles?
No, never have.
So before I tell you anything, let me tell you how it's spelt.
Okay.
Toy, as in toy. Toys R Us, as in toy. Toyn, and then an N. B, like a bumblebee. It's all one word. Toynbee.
Cool.
Toynbee was Arnold Toynbee.
Okay.
Arnold Toynbee was a 20th century British historian and a government consultant whose works were mainly concerned with the rhythm and common denominators found in the rise and fall of civilizations throughout history.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty
Never
interesting
knew that.
because if you think about what that is, he was interested in trying to see the patterns of civilizations. If you go to Rome right now, you see the ruins of the Roman Empire. You see the buildings. And almost throughout all of history, whenever you study a civilization, you can see they have like a wave. The British Empire had the same thing. Only fortunately for the British Empire, they didn't come to a devastating demise. They just kind of dwindled,
Yeah.
They didn't get destroyed. And the same thing could happen to this culture that we call America.
Sure.
God forbid, we don't want this to happen, right? But anyway, so that's what he studied. He studied the rise and fall of civilizations and the rhythm and common denominators of them. He was highly religious, and he held beliefs about the essentially good character of the human race, which after speaking to that man who took care of abducted children this morning, I don't know that I have a whole lot of faith in the human race. I just don't trust anybody. Anyway, here's so far you're not being let in on anything regarding these tiles, but I just wanted to tell you about Toynbee himself, just a little bit, because all I know is a little bit.
Well, it's fascinating about the man.
Now, you also need to know about the film 2001: A Space Odyssey in order to know about these tiles.
Okay.
In the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, the producer of the movie, Stanley Kubrick, remember the author of the book was Arthur C. Clarke.
Yes.
So between the movie... Was he the director, Stanley Kubrick?
Yes.
And Arthur C. Clarke. The planet Jupiter was commonly mentioned, though it was never clear why the planet Jupiter was mentioned or what their connection to Arnold Toynbee might be. Some people have drawn parallels between the themes of Arnold Toynbee and 2001: A Space Odyssey as an interpretation of Jupiter being a major part in the movie 2001, but there's nothing concrete or unconditionally accepted. Drawing concrete connections is made even more difficult to the extent that Toynbee's works, as well as 2001, can be widely interpreted themselves.
Oh, okay.
2001, the monolith in 2001: A Space Odyssey has always been a mystery. Not everybody agrees with what that's supposed to mean, what's it symbolic of. All right, so far, I've told you nothing about the tiles, but I've kind of reminded you about 2001: A Space Odyssey and told you a little bit about this guy named Arnold Toynbee.
Well, we need the history, though, to keep things in perspective.
Well, not necessarily.
The man and everything.
Okay, but now here comes the curious part. Since 1985, relatively recently, mysterious tiles have been showing up embedded in streets across the United States and deep into South America.
Wow.
They're made from linoleum, asphalt, crack filler, tar paper, and glue. The tiles bear a similar message. Most of them read something along the lines of, quote, Toynbee idea, in movie 2001, resurrect dead on planet Jupiter.
Wow.
Okay, and that's what these tiles say. They are still appearing to this day. And still no one knows who put them into the streets or what the messages are supposed to mean.
Boy, this is curiosity for Ron Hubbard fans, let me tell you.
The Toynbee tiles are about the size of a car's license plate. That's the size.
Wow.
All right. It is estimated that there somewhere around 450 of them have been found so far. 450 of these things.
We should have found one here.
They've been imprinted into streets around the Western Hemisphere since, as I mentioned earlier, 1985. They can be multicolored or they can be black and white.
Wow.
They all have block letters that become so deeply imprinted into the street itself, in other words, the blacktop, the tar, that by the time they're discovered, they can't be removed.
Oh.
Either you tear up the street, but otherwise they're there.
Yeah.
Who exactly is behind the original message remains a mystery, and it's not known whether or not that person is still doing this or if it's the work of copycats.
Oh.
You never know. Somebody might be doing it too.
Yeah.
The tiles are carved from pieces of linoleum that are then sandwiched between two pieces of tar paper.
Okay.
And slathered with glue and asphalt crack filler.
Well, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. The tar paper hides the tiles from view, and then heat, plus all the cars driving over it, eventually embeds the tile into the street. By the time the tar paper wears away, and thus leaves a permanent imprint into the street itself.
How clever is that? That is clever.
The messages vary somewhat, but there are some common threads that are seen in many of the tiles. Quite a few of them refer to the name Toynbee.
Okay.
Arnold Toynbee is the only Toynbee in history, so we're not sure if Toynbee in the tiles is referring to Arnold Toynbee, but that's why I wanted to tell you a little bit about Arnold Toynbee before we went any further. Mm-hmm. But anyway, because of the fact that many of them referred to Toynbee, that's why the tiles, the whole group of tiles, are referred to as the Toynbee Tiles. And then, of course, it mentions 2001: A Space Odyssey, as I mentioned. Many of the tiles were laid within a few hours' drive of the city of Philadelphia.
Gosh.
Earlier tiles, however, were more widespread, found throughout Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, and even into the Midwest. And there have been some tiles found in South America. The Midwestern tiles and the South American tiles are thought to be the work of the same individual. Tiles in South America are written in Spanish, and a few Spanish tiles have shown up in America after the discovery of the ones south of the equator.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff.
The close proximity of recent tiles to Philadelphia suggests that these are probably the work of a copycat, but who put the original tiles down? For years, people have tried to figure out not just what the tiles mean, but who is behind them, of course, and the story just gets weirder from there. A journalist from the Philadelphia Inquirer named Clark DeLeon ran a story concerning a Philadelphia native named James Marasco.
Okay.
Marasco was part of an underground organization called the Minority Association, whose goal was to see human beings who died on Earth, which every one of the human beings I've ever heard of has died on Earth.
Yeah, not known any that hasn't.
But his goal, or the goal of the organization, the Minority Association, was to resurrect all of the Earth's deceased on the planet Jupiter.
Oh, okay.
Your year would be much longer if you lived on Jupiter, because it takes a long time for Jupiter to go around the sun.
Okay.
Your day would be so long on Jupiter because it takes so long for Jupiter to rotate on its axis. The problem is that the original tiles continued to appear after Marasco died.
Oh.
So to say Marasco was responsible for them can't be true unless, of course, it's copycats. Mm-hmm. Additionally, he and his widow were both adamant that they knew nothing about the tiles and had nothing to do with the Minority Association.
Oh.
And there doesn't seem to be any concrete evidence tying them to either the association or the tiles. Anyway, now it's thought that there are several different tiling artists working in different areas and laying tiles in distinctively different styles. The originals remain a mystery, though. That's the big mystery here, not the copycats, but the originals. And it's no proof anywhere that any of them are copycats. That's even speculation. But even to this day, people are finding these embedded messages in the streets that indicate something about Toynbee, something about 2001, which clearly is the movie, because they always say the movie 2001, and also about resurrecting the dead on the planet Jupiter.
That is...
Now, how odd is that story, huh?
It's a fascinating story, though. Really fascinating. I love that story.
All right.
But and you know, you would do that kind of testing on the tiles that were found to see if those tiles were created in a specific year, as opposed to people now copycatting and creating tiles with the material from this year, because you can do that kind of, I forget what those tests are called, to see about the authenticity that those tiles were really done during that year.
You mean the carbon dating?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but carbon dating usually has to apply to something that's like thousands of years old, not just
10 or 20.
10 or 20. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, and finally, if you want to know where I got those two stories from, I've got a cool website to tell you about, and you'll find those two stories and many, many, many more. It's a website called Knowledge Nuts.
Okay. I love this. This is great.
KnowledgeNuts.com. To give you an idea of what's on Knowledge Nuts, You can learn the difference between koi and goldfish.
Really?
You can learn what the difference is.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
Do you want me to tell you? I can look it up. All I got to do is
Yeah.
click on it. Okay.
Okay.
The difference between koi and goldfish, they're both carp, both kept in home aquariums. Both are Asian in origin and appear superficially similar. Goldfish are actually descended from Crucian carp, while the koi have barbels. They grow longer and are in fact a fancy domesticated version of the common carp.
Oh.
Although
okay.
more widely known in the wild, the koi fancy is more elite than the goldfish.
Oh, of course, because the goldfish you can put on a counter.
There
The
you
koi
go.
you got to have
So
a
you can
big
learn the
pond.
difference if you go to knowledgenuts.com.
Okay.
So now that I kind of revealed to you
Okay.
my source for the two stories about the Toynbee Tiles and about the Eiffel Tower apartment.
That is pretty cool.
Here's another thing I learned from knowledgenuts.com. Santa Claus and Gandalf have the same origin. Gandalf from
Really?
what's this?
Oh, the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Real Christmas
that.
trees are more eco-friendly than fake ones. Mm-hmm. You can learn the difference between a bay and a gulf.
Okay.
You can learn the difference between a street and a road. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
That the word road was originally supposed to be any paved pathway that replaced a railroad or ran parallel to one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And streets were more for, in other words, for long distance traveling. Roads were for long distance, streets were for residences.
Oh, no, that's interesting.
You can also learn on knowledgenuts.com about the bizarre tradition of Chinese ghost marriages.
Oh, now that sounds like that would make my skin crawl.
And you
That
can read an
sounds
article
spooky.
about how male llamas bite off
Yeah.
each other's genitalia. Male llamas bite off each other's genitalia.
Really?
Yep.
Now I gotta ask your
You can
brother.
also learn that chickens have the genetic material necessary for growing teeth. And scientists don't understand why they have the genetic information to grow teeth, but they don't grow teeth.
Yeah, no, you had that as a news story
We
a
had that-
couple of times.
we had that,
about
yes.
Chickens and teeth and growing teeth and how some babies are born with all these teeth.
And in
Yeah.
horse country, go to knowledgenuts.com and you can learn the difference between the sorrel, the chestnut, and the red roan horses.
Oh, okay. So that must mean they're close in color then.
Also the difference between Asian and African elephants.
Oh, okay.
How about that? There's a lot of...
It's the ears, right?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
African
I'm
elephants
just reading you
have
the-
big ears and Asian elephants
Also,
have big ears.
Pakistan uses transsexuals as tax collectors. Absolutely true.
Why are they afraid the women there would just kind of
I don't know.
hit on them or something to have them not pay their taxes?
You can have the difference between the bison. You can learn the difference between the bison and the buffalo,
Yeah.
the crow and the raven, and you can learn that Woody Harrelson's father was a hitman.
Really?
All of these cool little articles of interest on knowledgenuts.com
And is nuts spelled with an S or a Z?
with an S.
Okay.
Now,
Sometimes they
just like it sounds.
Nuts, sometimes they'll replace the S with a Z if they want to get
How
clever
about this
in the
one?
name.
Here's one more I'll share with
Okay.
you. There's plenty on this site, and it's kind of a fun site to go to. If you're going to the same sites all the time and you're getting bored with your sites, here's one: knowledgenuts.com, knowledgenuts with an S.com.
Okay.
The cosmonaut who fell from space to save a friend. Are you ready for this story?
Okay.
In 1967, Vladimir Komarov met a fiery death plummeting from space in a Soviet spacecraft.
Oh.
Though he knew the craft had over 200 structural problems, he stepped aboard anyway to make sure his friend Yuri Gagarin, the backup pilot, wouldn't die in his place.
Oh, no.
On April 23rd, 1967, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov stepped on board the spacecraft, which was the Soyuz 1, knowing that he was likely to die in space. Soyuz 1 had over 200 structural issues. It was almost certain to crash. Komarov was to pilot Soyuz 1 as part of a ceremony honoring the 50th anniversary of the Soviet Revolution. In space, he would connect Soyuz 1 to another craft piloted by 2 additional cosmonauts and would fly back to Earth with them. The demonstration would showcase the Soviet strength and victory. A group of technicians examined Soyuz 1 and declared it dangerous to operate in space. Everyone who tried to report the issue, however, was demoted, fired, or relocated.
Or killed, probably.
The flight was going to happen regardless of the consequences. When April 23rd rolled around, Komarov reluctantly got into the craft. He did so knowing that if he did not, his close friend Yuri Gagarin would be sent up instead, as he was the backup pilot for the mission. Gagarin was a Soviet hero. He was the first human to enter outer space. Gagarin, not wanting Komarov to die, suited up and was ready to go on the craft, but Soyuz 1 took off with Komarov as the pilot. Predictably, the failures ensued. Soyuz 1's antennas, power, navigation, and parachutes failed to work properly. The launch of the second craft was canceled, and Komarov died as the Soyuz 1 made its descent without parachutes back to Earth. Gagarin himself ironically died a year later in a plane crash. The event is recounted in the 2011 book called Starman by Jamie Doran. Historian response to the book darkly suggests that Gagarin was never in any actual danger, as authorities considered him too valuable to risk. He was a backup only to satisfy protocol and would never have actually piloted Soyuz 1. If that were true, Komarov died for nothing.
How can you believe that? How can you believe that that wasn't true? If the first guy, stepped away and said, I don't want to do it, they would have sent him, the other guy, up to save face.
Poor Soviet record keeping may make it impossible to ever determine the truth. Anyway, one extra thing I want to tell you about this website, and then we'll move on. KnowledgeNuts.com has some of these fabulous, fantastic stories, and it almost sounds like, what do you call it? Like Inquirer, like tabloid stories. Okay. What they do at the end of each story is they have a little piece called Show Me the Proof. And they show you the proof by basically giving you links to articles elsewhere on the internet that go into more detail and often are like newspaper articles, etc. Some of the things that they're showing on Knowledge Nuts. So
wow.
I discovered a new website, wanted to share it with you all, and that's how I did it, by talking to you about some of these things. I guess I was mostly focused on the Toynbee Tiles.
Yeah, that's the most fascinating one. Gosh.
All right, well, we've got some more trivia from movies that came out in 2013. I have included them in the trivia game we're going to play with Dan when we do Fun with Joe with Dan in just about 12 minutes or so. And we'll be back at that time. This is The Source, WOCA.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
Hi, this is Brad. I want to take a moment to talk about a serious issue. In the next 5 years, the aviation industry is projected to have a shortage of commercial pilots. Now is the time to start training. Ocala Flying Club has started a scholarship for the youth of Marion County ages 17 to 24. The club will donate up to $4,000 towards a pilot's license. This will help get the student on their way to obtaining their commercial pilot license. If this sounds like something you would be interested in, or if you know someone that would be, please contact Ocala Aviation Services, 861-7484.
Hi, Carl Champley here. Join me every Saturday afternoon for DIY Live, your complete guide to getting that DIY project started and finished the right way.
And when you need the right product for that do-it-yourself project, visit the DIY Home Center outlet right here in Ocala, just 2 miles east of I-75 on Northwest 10th Street. From carpet to doors to real wood cabinets, visit the DIY Home Center outlet today and tune in to DIY Live.
That's DIY Live Saturdays right here on WOCA, The Source.
Hey, it's Christy with Ocala Mac and PC Repair and Ocala Guest Wi-Fi to let you know we have you covered. We are the only local certified Apple and Microsoft computer company in Ocala. We are family owned and operated. From mobile repair to wireless networks, viruses, new systems, or security cameras, we do it all. Check us out online, ocalamacpc.com, or give us a call, 352-566-8324.
Tell them Nick, Madison, or Mason sent you and get free diagnostic.
Get your internet telephone service from the company that brought affordable internet service to Ocala in the first place. All is Safe is a sister company of Ocala Guest Wi-Fi, a company you've known and trusted for all your internet needs. Whether you need a phone or hundreds, we've got the products and services to meet your needs both now and in the future. Our plans include everything from local and long-distance calling to equipment maintenance and even software upgrades. You can count on All is Safe to give you cost certainty knowing that your bill will be the same next week, next month, or even next year. Call 352-450-8647 today to learn how to cut your monthly telephone bill up to 60%.
Here are today's headlines from the source, WOCA. The Marion County Sheriff's Office is reporting that late yesterday they were investigating an apparent domestic violence incident in Rainbow Lakes Estates north of Dunellen after two people were found dead inside of a home there. According to the report, the two deceased people are identified as 32-year-old Latalia Robinson and 33-year-old Dean Hamilton. Hamilton is described in the report as Robinson's estranged husband. The report states that Robinson was a biology teacher at Westport High School, and Hamilton worked at Cheney Brothers. Both Robinson and Hamilton were found dead inside the house from an apparent gunshot wound. No further details were included in the report. A semi-truck fire delayed southbound traffic on I-95 in the Ormond Beach area for hours yesterday morning. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, a semi-truck hauling cars caught on fire near mile marker 274 just before 8:30 a.m. Troopers shut down all of the southbound lanes while crews battled the fire. There were no injuries reported, and the cause of the fire is unknown, according to the report. Troopers reopened the southbound lanes around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Two people, including an 8-year-old boy, were killed and 3 others injured yesterday morning in a 2-vehicle crash on State Road 434 in Seminole County. The crash occurred around 10 a.m. east of the interchange with State Road 417. The boy was not identified by name. He was a passenger in a vehicle driven by 28-year-old Danielle Nicole Duder of Oviedo, who was critically injured and taken to Orlando Regional Medical Center. The crash also killed 65-year-old Marie Rhodes Radford of Oviedo, the driver of the other vehicle. Troopers said Duder was driving east in a 1998 Toyota on State Road 434 and, for unknown reasons, crossed into the westbound lane, colliding with Radford's vehicle head-on, a 1993 Chrysler New Yorker. The 2 other children in Duder's vehicle had minor injuries. They are identified as 9-year-old Courtney Duder and 6-year-old Kyle Duder. If predictions hold true, Florida may soon overtake New York as the nation's 3rd most populous state. Pointing to the state's growth rates, demographers say it's not a question of if, but when. If it doesn't happen this year, it probably will, but if not, probably next year, according to Thomas Boswell, a University of Miami geography professor who studies population. Stan Smith, population program director at the University of Florida's Bureau of Economic and Business Research, agreed with Boswell that Florida likely will overtake New York at some point in 2014 or 2015. From April 20th through July of 2012, Florida's population grew 2.7% according to census data. In the same period, New York's population grew 1%. Last year's census estimate had the two states virtually neck and neck. New York's population was just under 19.6 million people, only about 250,000 higher than Florida's, while New York City and its surrounding suburbs, the Albany area and Ithaca, are all growing. Much of upstate New York is experiencing declines in population. And one winner of the Fantasy 5 game will collect $264,828.66, according to a news release issued by the Florida Lottery yesterday. The winning ticket was bought in Winter Garden, according to the report. The 386 tickets matching 4 numbers will each win $110.50. Another 12,108 tickets matching 3 numbers won $9.50 each, and 119,219 tickets won a quick pick ticket for picking 2 numbers. The numbers drawn on Saturday night were 6, 17, 19, 24, and 29. And those are the headlines from the source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. This afternoon, clouds and sun, high 75 to 81. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 53 to 64. Clouds and sun for tomorrow, high 71 to 75. Wednesday, a shower, high 74 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Andy Robb.
Consumer thoughts on GMOs. That story coming up on This Land of Ours.
Hi, everybody. This is Marty Stewart inviting you to follow me to Nashville, Tennessee for the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It'll be February the 4th through the 7th in Music City, USA. For more information, please visit the National Cattlemen's Beef Association website at beefusa.org. There you can check out all the cool stuff that'll be happening at this year's convention. While you're at it, don't forget to check out the Marty Stewart Show, Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on RFD TV and FamilyNet.
Hi there, I'm John Conley. Follow me to Tennessee and the Music City for the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's a great chance to network with your fellow cattlemen and have a whole lot of fun. And it's your chance to see me play live during Cowboys Night at the Opry at one of my favorite venues, the Grand Ole Opry. Join me and 7,000 of your fellow cattlemen at the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Get all the details at beefusa.org.
New research by the MPD Group shows that more than half of U.S. consumers are concerned about genetically modified organisms. However, when asked to describe what GMOs are, many primary grocery shoppers are unclear on the concept. Consumers were asked to describe what GMOs mean in their own words, with genetically altered, not natural, and don't know as common responses. Some respondents believe GMOs are foodstuffs that are genetically altered in a favorable way sometimes, and in an unfavorable way at other times. Although 44% said GMOs have some kind of benefits, a higher percentage had at least some level of concern. Back in 2002, less than 10% of adults were very or extremely concerned about GMOs, but that has increased to more than 20%. USDA defines genetic modification as the production of heritable improvements in plants or animals for specific uses, through either genetic engineering or other more traditional methods. Julie McPeak with Southeast AgNet.
I do. This heartwarming Broadway favorite takes a musical look at the marriage of Michael and Agnes and their life together over 50 years. They go through wedding night jitters, raise a family, negotiate midlife crises, quarrel, separate, reconcile, and grow old together. Ocala audiences are in for a unique experience as the original creators have reconceived the show to include a separate couple for each of the 6 episodes. I do. On stage at the Ocala Civic Theater, January 9th through the 19th.
Hey, Mom and Dad, is your college senior or recent grad home for the holidays? Then I bet we know what tops your wish list, helping them get a new job in the new year. Workforce Connection, soon to become CareerSource Citrus Levy Marion, has free job placement services they can use right now. And be sure to watch for our Hire a Grad job fair in May 2014. Good gainful employment is the gift that keeps on giving. Unwrap the possibilities today and call 1-800-434-JOBS or visit workforceconnectionfl.com.
Today in Florida Ag News from the Southeast AgNet, we have the Commissioner's Spotlight.
Jim Carls is Florida's state forester. As the holiday season comes to a close, Jim, what's the best way to dispose of Christmas trees?
Well, Frost, if you bought a potted Florida Christmas tree, there's no problem, of course. You plant it in your yard. For cut trees, we recommend recycling. Most communities schedule tree recycling days after the holidays. If you must burn your tree, check the local outdoor burning requirements or call the local Florida Forest Service office. Never burn on windy, dry, or high fire danger days. Only burn during the hours of 9 a.m. until sunset. Select an appropriate site